All right, good evening and good afternoon, whatever time it might be for you. We are having a wonderful afternoon here, and just want to go over some of the 11th grade concerns at this point, because now we are in May and it is getting close to the end of the year for our 11th graders and all of our students. So, Great Hearts Irving class of 2021. So let's get started. So the first thing is COVID. What has COVID-19 changed in the whole landscape of college planning and what students have to be concerned about? So one of the big things that we found as a counseling team is that we were very concerned about how the grades were going to be looked at and whether or not some colleges were going towards pass fail. And so there was a lot of talk about what should happen, and school districts around the country were doing different things as far as grades or pass fail for students this semester during COVID-19. Our team went out and talked to colleges to ask them what did they anticipate. And as far as the seniors were concerned, pretty much they were going to let them kind of, whatever happened, they're not going to penalize the students. However, they did say the class of 2021 will be expected to have grades. They will be expected to have what they would normally require for application. And so we brought that to administration, and they did in fact make sure that students are going to receive grades for second semester. So that is one of the biggest challenges that students will face, is that the class of 2021, do those students have grades? One of the other things early on, NCAA also came out and said, if you have a pass fail, that pass is a 70. It could be a 70 to 100, so they can only give you a 70, and therefore students that had great grades, they would actually be bringing down their GPA with that, which does result in changes possibly in their eligibility and so forth. So we definitely went with the grades as the best thing that we could do for students, is to go with the grades. Now, since that time, NCAA has changed and many of the colleges have changed now that we're weeks into COVID-19, months into it. And what they're saying is they're gonna let the students that are the class of 2020 they're going to dismiss all of this disruption. But the class of 2021, they're going to expect to be back to normal, back to their same requirements that they are expecting. In addition, we will see this fall how schools actually, if they have contingency plans for some kind of modified distance learning or some kind of social distancing in September. So we don't know how that's going to look for class 2020, but it is, and many of the colleges are just saying, well, we'll let you know. But it is clear for the class of 2021 that they really expect to be back. One of the other things that's really a big change for this, for students, is the recruitment process during this time period. So in the recruitment process, students have not been able to visit colleges, nor have they been able to go to college fairs, which that is what normally happens in the spring. 11th graders go to college fairs, they visit campuses, and they help make their decisions. And also colleges are recruiting students during this time. So that has not happened. So what we've done at Great Hearts is we've called schools, many schools, and gotten them to agree to do admissions visits for us with our students. And so that is the best thing you can do right now. and something that's changed is you can't go to the campus, and it's making that campus visit happen, making that connection with admissions officers purposeful and on your own. So let's say, for example, the big box high school down the street has 200 seniors or 500 seniors. Maybe 10% of them are going to go out on their own and make these contacts. They're not going to en masse make the contacts. So our students that are making contacts with admissions officers is very valuable. And every contact that you make is very valuable to them because they're not getting to see as many students. They're not getting to have that touch with as many students as they did in the past. So that is two of the, I think, really key things that are going to be different for 2021 and how we can take advantage of that in light of the COVID changes. So one of the things that we need to make sure we're doing at Great Hearts is our 11th graders really, if they haven't taken the SAT subject test, that's something that may add to their record and resume. Everyone is going to be trying to beef up their record because of the uncertainty. So subject tests are something that students can take. Many students have had Latin. They may want to take a subject test for that, but just to be aware, College Board has a subject test. They're not required. Less and less schools are requiring them, but our students can use these to shine. So it's an added bonus, not necessary, but if you want to shine in an area, subject tests are the way to go with that. As far as the SAT goes, we know that they've been canceled throughout the spring. And so what we're going to do at Great Hearts is we are going to offer an SAT at Great Hearts. We are not certain with SAT right now if it's going to be a Saturday or if it's going to be a school day. We are looking for that Saturday date, and if not, we will go with the school day date. But we're applying for those, so they will be able to give us one. We're still waiting. As soon as we hear, we will find out, but it'll be that August and September dates. You receive those in the, there should be showing on the website or in newsletter, but those dates coming up, we will offer our students the SAT. Will be only this one time. It's our COVID-19 SAT only for 11th grade, but we want you to be able to rest and know that you don't have to scramble to find a test. We will offer a test at Great Hearts. Transcript requests. So as students are applying for college, they will need transcripts. And the transcript requests process is going to be new because we're applying to colleges, and class of 2021 is the first time this is happening. And so that is totally in process and will be listed on the website. It will be a two-step process. You will apply through Naviance for the request, and then also there'll be a form, we're not sure exactly, but probably a Google form in addition to fill out to get the information for the transcript request. But that will be outlined and you will have the links on the website to go directly to request those transcripts. And those won't be done until after school is over. And you will receive the date that will come from the headmaster as to when transcripts are available to be requested. We had some students that took the ASVAB and I was waiting on the organization to give the review back, but that has not happened. So next week we will, those students that took it already will receive their results. Again, the virtual college visits, those things are even continuing. We have a few more left at schools that we've been trying to reach them for some time, and they're finally coming up and saying yes. So even through, we will continue to look for college visits. Just a minute. All right, we have another family joining us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We are about halfway through, and this is being recorded, so you'll be able to get the entire presentation. So the virtual college visits will continue. Again, it's been a process that the three high schools in three-grade high schools in Texas have been able to work together. We've had all of our students on these virtual visits, and it served us very well. Most of the counselors are on there. If one can't be, it's fine, because there's always a Great Hearts counselor that will be in the visit with the admissions officers. And it allows our students to have a lot of choices and selection. So they're still coming. We've probably had about 10, I think maybe total we'll have 10 visits that we've had our own personal visits with Great Hearts. So that has been great. Financial aid. So wanted to have a financial aid night this May. However, that will not be able to happen. The financial aid, we were getting colleges to do it for us, and so they have decided they will do it in the fall for us. So that will be one of the things right away in August, at August or September, that we'll have that financial aid night. So in the meantime, I wanted to leave you with some really good resources for that. The first is that in Naviance, there is curriculum that your children have access to. There's actually 2 lessons or so on financial aid, and I recommend you looking at that. And so we're going to go over a few things here. All right. But yes, and the students have curriculum. I'm sorry, I was reading one of the chats. But the students have curriculum, and you can look at that. It is given to us until the end of June, and then it will disappear. It has been a gift for subscribers of Naviance during COVID-19. So some of the main things that I think financial aid that you should be aware of is the studentaid.gov. These government sites really are the go-to sites. If it's a government site, it's where you need to find out about aid. So this is federal student aid, and it's from the Department of Education. This is where you go to find out about financial aid. This is definitely a site, studentaid.gov. And then also on that same site, if you click on Understanding Aid, it will give you options to start planning, to how to fill out the FAFSA, reviewing how to get aid. It'll explain what different aid is, but that's all under studentaid.gov. In addition, the FAFSA Forecaster is another government site that allows you to put in your data for your financials, and it will give you a FAFSA simile. It's going to be like your FAFSA, but it's not going to be your exact FAFSA. So you can play with this and make mistakes, and you can still use a forecaster for that. You don't have to put any information. The information does not go to the government. It is just for you to look at and review. So that is an excellent place to use a FAFSA forecaster with the number 4 in it. But it's fafsa.ed.gov. It's just easier to put FAFSA forecaster in your web browser. All right. Here's another site. You have to have a PIN when you have your FAFSA form. You'll fill your FAFSA out in October, and it will be based on your 2018 taxes. So those are already done. And so you'll be able to fill it out in October. And this is, you need to have an ID before you fill that out. If you don't have a child that has filled out one before, you'll have to get an ID. Each person, the parents and the children, have to have their ID. And so that's fsaid.ed.gov, and it's another one of those sites. If you are looking for a PIN, a FAFSA PIN, this is or ID. It will create one for you, but everyone needs to have one of those. Okay, so a FAFSA PIN or a FAFSA ID, that's something you need to have. All right, so what's coming next is the summer is almost here. And what can you do? There's still social distancing. So some of the things, still do meaningful activities. Very important to show colleges that through this pandemic that you still were engaged. You were still doing things that were important, whether it's something you're building at home, something that you're doing, a project or something that you do yourself. It's still a meaningful activity and shows, you know, how you, maybe it's something really related to your career, research you did, or just anything that's meaningful that you can show. These things also help build your resume. Students will be getting this assignment to work on their resume. I'll give them, this is all within Naviance, and they just put in their events. They just add an activity, add an activity, add an activity, and then Naviance will populate a resume for them. And they'll have different formats that they'll be able to get. And so colleges aren't always asking for resumes. However, when it comes to scholarships, many times they are asking for resumes. Honors College they're asking for resumes. So it may find your child well to actually have one and have it ready, just to see if you may need that. So resumes will be assigned in Naviance through Google Classroom. Challenge yourself. Students should challenge themselves over the summer to do something, whether it's the number of books that I read, whether you're reading on Kindle, some kind of challenge. Those things are really important to do, as well as writing your college essays. That is something that students can work on. They've had a workshop during the year with Mr. Roper and with Dr. Roper, excuse me, and they have enough information to really get started on their essay. And so they should know well how to do that, and they can get started on that. Colleges will have one, at least, if they have an essay, they'll have one, maybe that essay on Common App. If the school is a Common App school, that's a type of application that they may need to apply to that school. Some of the Applied Texas schools, they don't require an essay. So it depends on the school whether they want an essay. And if you have schools that are highly selective, more than likely they will have additional essays. They will have short essays. They may have a 100-word essay. Why do you want to come to our school? And so they need to have a core essay done and then be ready with, if they already know their schools, to start looking on those websites and see what essays they're requiring, and getting ready to have those written. That way, when they come back to school, they can have those reviewed by their teachers in the fall and really have their third or fourth draft ready to apply in November. And that's when we would like students to have their applications done, is by November 1st. And congratulations to starting that senior journey. Some of the things that are going to happen is the senior thesis is coming up, dances, college selections, senior photos, house challenges, students may be driving if they aren't already driving, volunteering, taking SAT tests. Senior year is full and busy, and so just really want to give you a little heads up to think about what's ahead and kind of how that might shape out. So I am going to open now for questions to see if there are any questions, and please ask those so we can get those in the recording. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you like.
I did have one question. I did not catch that second website, the one after FAFSA.
Okay. I will go back to that. Okay, the FAFSA, after the FAFSA forecaster. Oh, for the PIN. FS, it must be, I'm trying to think of what is fsaid.edu.gov. So it must be short for FAFSA, fsaid.edu.gov.
Thanks.
And that's for that's to get your PIN or your ID. And each parent has to have one, as well as the students. And that's your kind of password to get into your FAFSA. Sure. Any other questions or clarification needed? And I will go ahead and I'll stop the recording. And then anyone that needs to stay on, and we can go back a little bit, that would be great. But if there are not any questions, I will stop, and that way we can keep this recording at a reasonable time.